This video, we're going to talk about why you should never doom in a world that is doomer-maxing. With an American society that is quote-unquote declining, it's easy to take the doomer pill. And so, if you're new to this and you're wondering what's going on, today we're going to talk about what dooming is, why it's so common, why it's a trap, and what we can do to overcome it. And so before I get into all that, my name is Archer, and I'm a Gen Z king who's forging my path in this world. And on my channel, I talk about life, business, finances, and really anything I feel is important to talk about for people like me over COD zombies. And so if any of these things are of interest to you, please subscribe, as I have a lot more stuff coming for you guys in the future. So back to the video. So what is dooming? The best way that I can describe it is dooming is living in a reactionary state where you see all this negative stuff in the world and letting that negative attention influence you in a negative manner. And so what do I mean by that? People often get caught doom scrolling or just being negative all the time. Nobody likes to be around a negative person because they're just such a drag on yourself, others around you, and it just doesn't really do anybody any good. And so first we'll go into why it's so common. So with everything that's in us in society, we've got a lot of factors, a lot of negative factors specifically that influence this. I see videos all the time, people talking about, oh, this economy, it's a shitbox for anybody who's under 50. Housing is unaffordable, inflation is out of control. People have lower social standards than used to be in society. Social media is driving everybody apart, it's getting everybody emotional. The dating scene is chaos. There's an insane political climate. And on the other side, first, sometimes people trying to be more positive, trying to better their life, then you can fall into the guru trap of, everybody's trying to escape the rat race, and, you feel like you're getting left behind if you're not making millions of dollars. And yeah, so a lot of these problems I listed, they're all valid, and I'm not trying to minimize any of those things because they're all real things, and we all have a right to complain about those, but here is the biggest thing. My biggest issue with it is that pretty much all these things are out of our individual control. Maybe this is what the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers want from us. They just want us to be, eat your slop. Go to your shitty job and just watch your Netflix and plug out. And it, as much as people like to joke about stuff like that, it's a common reality for most people. So now we're going to go into why it's a trap. So I just mentioned is it's outside of your control. All this stuff with like the housing market, the stock market, all this stuff with tariffs. What can you on an individual level do to influence any of these things? As you're sitting here probably thinking you're like, I can't do anything about that. And you're exactly right. Because, we're just young people. There's not much that we can do to affect stuff like that. And, I'm not trying to disempower anybody, but, if you focus on all this stuff that's going on in American society and the economy, it's just going to drag you down, man. Like, you just, like, for your own well-being, you just need to avoid that. And it just really causes you to be very negative on an individual level. And it just negatively influences your life. Like, there's no upside to being upset at all this stuff all the time. Like, is that really what you want to be whenever you're around other people? Like, oh, the, like when you're out at dinner with people and you're just like, oh man, like, two bed, one bath used to be $75K to buy, and people could buy it with a cashier's salary. And, you know, I'm talking about housing a little bit, but the world has changed, and, those topics are issues for a separate video, but I'm not trying to, you know, this is for you as an individual. Like, you can't do anything to change that or make it not be that way. Obviously, it's not ideal, but I mean, we really can't affect that at a big rate. And so, what does it do for you if you're just gonna harp on it all the time, or just be a negative drag around people that you hang around? That's no fun. And it's just not it's not good. But another thing to kind of push back on some of these things that I've been mentioning, we're all in the early stages of our adult life, and it's not supposed to be easy. People had to get it out the mud for forever. We some of these people who are doomer maxing, they like to be like, oh, they had it so easy back then. Oh, like, but I mean, to a degree, like, as far as like economics and stuff, like, yeah, they had a better start or a better avenue to play with, but they had a lot of other things that really, I mean, it was hard. A lot of those people, that's why they got some shitty job and just locked in at that for 30 years, and you know maybe it got to them over time, but I mean, it wasn't easy, and a lot of the time they they really made something out of what they had. And that's one of the things I want to really kind of emphasize for us as young people, is that while everything can be so negative, there's so many new things that we can do, like with AI and the internet and social media. There's big positives to all those too, and I feel like people just really love to harp on the negatives. It's just really, like, you got to look at it both ways. Like, if you want to complain about stuff, you got to look at the other side of the coin and know that there's good stuff coming from it as well. And so this kind of leads me into, what can we do about it? So first and foremost, I want to say that the biggest thing you can do on an individual level is lower your field of vision. And so what do I mean by that? With all this stuff in the news cycle and social media and toxic people who, are constantly dooming, you want to eliminate those from your life as much as you can. Like, you don't want to get caught like doom scrolling or just scrolling through Twitter or going through all this stuff that's just going to make you feel bad because you just get nothing out of it. It's just a drag on you. And so, yeah, I mean, you just want to control what you can control. That's one of the biggest things that I've felt is impactful in my life. If you want to change where you're at in your personal situation, you got to control things that you can control. So, yeah, so into the next thing, you want to be the positive change you want to see. So, in this world, there's a lot of stuff that can get you down, but as far as if there are things out there and you feel like the world should be better, it should do this or that, what you can do as an individual is put your best foot forward and really try to just make the biggest difference that you can with your own life and people around you's life. And if you get around other people like that, I mean, that's how people build great things. And so it's really important to, be the positive change that you want to see. You can lead your friends, for one, get out of the house more, quit being on Twitter all the time, and go hang out with people and have conversations. Second off is put yourself in new positions. If you are just kind of doing the same thing every day and it's a drag, if you don't change anything, what do you think is going to happen? You're just going to stay miserable and you're just going to be stuck in the same spot that you're complaining about. And if you just keep complaining about it, it's just going to be a continuous cycle. So, For some things that you can do to inspire some positive change, you got to cut out some negative hobbies or some negative habits that you have. I mentioned doom scrolling, just constantly rolling through reels talking about, oh, like this is racist or this is xenophobic or all those stupid ass terms. Like that stuff is for people who are permanently, like terminally online. Like, bro, don't be a weirdo. Like, just be normal and like go have fun. Like, just do things that you genuinely enjoy instead of just being caught in all this negativity. Staying up late. If you're this falls into the doom scrolling, but if you're constantly staying up late till 2, 3 a.m., you're just gonna be you're gonna feel groggy. Like you're doing your body a disservice, and it lowers your energy levels, it lowers your mood, it lowers your health, and so it just all negatively compounds. And so these are things that you want to avoid. You know, Obviously the decisions you make, if you consume politics all the time or you just swipe the credit card 24/7, getting yourself into debt, you're just going to lead yourself into a further negative cycle that doesn't make you feel better. And then when you have to take care of all that stuff, you're going to have to really do hard work and stuff that's not fun to get yourself out of those holes. So you just want to avoid them altogether. And so, whenever you cut out negative hobbies, obviously the next train of thought is to replace it with healthier alternatives. You could try a new hobby. You could go rock climbing or, join a run club or, join a martial arts gym. That's something that I've done in my life. I've been in jujitsu for probably about 5 years now. And, it's been one of the best things I've ever done. Like, I met new people. I learned a new skill. I got active. I lost a lot of weight doing that. And it's just fun. Like I have a new game that like I can practice. There's tactics and all this stuff. And had I never started that or put myself or in a new spot that made me uncomfortable, there's so many other things in my life that wouldn't have come out as a result of that. And it's been a very net positive for me overall. And yeah, I mean, this goes for just other healthy things like, just lift some weights, work hard for something for you, build something that you want. Like, that's another thing I'm doing. This channel is my first video. It's something that, it makes me uncomfortable doing it for the first time. But, when you push past discomfort, there's usually great things on the other side of it. And so, to wrap this up, I just want to say that nobody likes to be around negative people. Like, it just brings you down, it makes you lower, and if you're negative, you're that source for other people. And so nobody wants to be around you if you just make things worse for other people or you're just constantly dooming. Like, it's no fun. Like, you just want to generally be a more fun person to be around and just get things, if you're caught in a negative cycle, you can't just do more negative things or keep doing things the same way. You got to change stuff. And so to finish this off, I'm just going to say that doomers are losers and never take the doomer pill, anon. It's only going to hurt your life and hurt the lives of those around you. So yeah, man, you just want to be more positive. And this isn't like some toxic positivity bullshit either. Like, you just don't want to get caught in cycles that you just do the wrong stuff over and over again. It's just it's only going to make your life harder, less fun, and not enjoyable overall. So that's just it's what you got to do, man. You got to change things up, do things better. And when you do that and do that day after day, your life's going to change. So, if you like this video or, like this style of content, I've got a lot more coming forward. So please leave a like and subscribe. Look forward to, and leave a comment about, stuff that you've seen people in your life do stuff like this, or, if I've, maybe pointed something out that you've seen. And yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.